That was an interesting end to your video. Shut up. Whatever. I have a response for you from me, another Queen's University student. Um, Also to the point where my last video, I don't know if it worked or not, but I'm going to fix it up anyways. Um, Basically, you made several points, and I'm going to address them each individually. One is the Christian League feels guilty, and that's why they're supporting AIPAC and Israel. Not quite. It has nothing to do with guilt or anything of that nature. It's more to the point where evangelical Christians believe that if all Jews are in Israel, the Messiah will come, or the Antichrist will come. Jews will follow the Antichrist, and then the Messiah will come. Jesus will return, and um, the apocalypse can happen. So everyone can be saved if they are proper Christians. That is why the evangelical lobby is so pro-Israel, not because they feel guilty for whatever reason. Um, you said that North Americans in general are only being exposed to the Israeli lobby. What is the internet doing then? Yes, fine. Take, for example, the Israeli lobby is very powerful. The stereotype that the media is controlled by the Jews, whatever you want, it's your belief. Do not have the capacity and the capability to go online to get the other information. Why not? Almost the entire world is internet accessible. Why is it so difficult to find a single source that's not Israeli backed? There are lots of them. There are lots of anti-Israel sites. You can very easily find the information that you want to. The Palestinian suicide bombers that you talk about, and they must really want to kill Israel for whatever reason. They must really hate them. They've been indoctrinated since birth to hate Jews, to think that Jews are pigs and apes. There is a hatred there that goes much deeper than just you or I. It's or on an individual basis. It's a hatred of a people in general. There's a video on YouTube right now. You can search for it. I think it's called Arab Anti-Semitism or something along those lines. A very interesting video, and it's basically the very beginning is showing a 3.5-year-old girl who basically says, "I hate the Jews because they are pigs and apes, and we will kill them." 3.5. There's an indoctrination there much larger than anyone else can imagine. The propaganda that is going on, the hatred of Jews, the denial of the Holocaust as something that actually happened is rampant, and the lack of education is a serious problem. Um, you also speak about America blocking any resolutions against Israel. Israel is a good ally of the U.S. There have been huge ties between the two countries. There are lots and lots of benefits for both countries. But you also have to remember, there has never been a single declaration against Sudan for their crimes against humanity and possible genocide that's taking place there in Darfur. In the south, there was also a genocide taking place, but no one spoke about it. In the east, a new conflict is arising. There has never been any resolutions against Egypt for their crimes against humanity and torturing of people. Just to say that Israel has been backed and protected by the U.S. doesn't mean that other countries aren't being protected as well by other countries. China defending Sudan, Russia defending Iran. There's lots of people on the Security Council that have a lot of power and are defending other people. Yes, the Israeli lobby might be large. Who knows? There's a lot of ties between Israel and the United States because there are a lot of ties. It just makes sense. Israel is the only democratic nation in the Middle East. It's the only one that actually has legitimate elections. It's the only one that actually observes the rights of its individuals and allows for free speech and allows for dissent and allows for people to live in peace and perform their religion freely. There are no Jews in any other Arab country aside from Iran, and in Iran, they're afraid of speaking out against anything. In Israel, everyone is allowed to practice their religion as freely as they want. They are free to go to their mosques, their churches, their synagogues, wherever they want. If a Jew were to go into Jordan and say, I would like to go to synagogue, they would be run out, or worse. There are no rights in other countries. Israel is protecting rights. You have to see it in a larger picture. Israel is a good example of Western idealism and the benefits of Western ideology. Lastly, the idea of these attacks. Also the fact that in the UN, the Israel needs protection because there's only one Jewish state. In the entire world, there's one Jewish state. There are many, many Arab and Muslim states. I believe it's something like 56, something along those lines. So when a large majority of the General Assembly hates you because of indoctrination from birth, you really have no other choice but to ask for help from other people and from the big guys who will help you out. And it's beneficial to them to help out because Israel then supplies huge amounts of weapons technologies and huge amounts of powerful people to help out in return. And with the nuclear threats, yes, they don't have the capacity to send a nuke over to the U.S., but it's not very difficult to make a suitcase bomb. There are specs of them on the internet. Again, not too hard to find. There are serious problems. Delivery systems, yes, fine. They can't send a missile, but there are lots of other ways. And a suicide bomber with a nuclear nuclear bomb attached to them is dangerous to everyone. There is no reason. Yes, fine. Israel needs protection as well. Israel needs the protection of the U.S. But even if Israel were not there, the U.S. would be against it anyways because Iran being able to send a suicide bomber with a nuclear weapon attached could destroy the country. If, say for example, one suitcase is not checked and is sent on an airplane with a hijacker, hijackers take over and you can say goodbye to all of New York or all of Washington or all of Seattle or anything. It's so powerful that it cannot be allowed into the hands of anyone as crazy as Ahmadinejad or Khomeini or anyone else.